Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over Revdis. I know I've been getting a lot of questions related to it and people want to know what's happening, what's going to be happening. I'm going to explain some of the really high level stuff. I'm going to be going in depth over the next coming weeks and months up until the launch of the game. So definitely subscribe. Don't forget to like this video, but I'm going to go over the really good stuff, the stuff you're probably most interested in. So definitely stick it out. It's going to be really, really good. And obviously there'll be a spreadsheet for you guys at the end, but watch this through first so that you understand how it works, because that is really important. Okay. So let's jump straight into it. So over here, I've listed, or at least I've copied Layla Hull. Many of you may know him in the Discord. I've listed some of the figures that he's actually got on his calculator. So I worked very hard to try and get it from on-chain data and things like that. And I'm still learning. So for now, I'm going to use his figures because I definitely trust them a lot more than I trust anything I'm going to put out. Okay. The issue for me with some of this stuff and why it took me a while is that a lot of them don't actually add up to 10 million tokens because so many of these stats actually overlap, and finding the overlapping areas is something I want to find in the future, but I'm having some trouble with for now. Anything labeled in blue, such as seed unlocks and management unlocked, is actually relating to things that are theoretically liquid. Like if someone could take it out and put it into the circulating supply right this moment if they wanted to, but technically they're not counted in terms of market cap and things so much because it's all supply and demand. If supply is not really out there, then the price is going to reflect that. So that's a big thing to take away. But when we look at this and we kind of take this high level stuff, and that's Layla Hull's data on the right there in that image, when we take the high level stuff, we end up with this. We end up with the total eligible for Revdis at the moment, because things like the treasury, seed tokens, and so on, even before they unlock, count for revenue distribution, which is really important to know, actually comes to about 8.2 million tokens, which is about 80% of the, over 80% of the supply, right? So this is how I'm calculating the revenue distribution. I'm not really going so much deeper than that. I haven't included land, but that is mostly because it's 95% of in-game revenue goes to Revdis, as well as things like merch sales, secondary market, royalties, and all that sort of stuff as well. So I'm focusing on revenue that counts for Revdis, which is going to be over 98% of it, considering only in-game revenue counts for land. Obviously, there's a lot less land than there are tokens, so it has its own benefits. But yeah, so here's the Revdis here. The actual liquid, this is taken straight from on-chain, I believe, and some of these figures might be a bit old, so keep that in mind. It's taken straight from on-chain. Basically, that's the amount of ILV tokens circulating in Uniswap, SushiSwap, things like that. Tokens that people can buy and sell and stuff like that. And on things like Binance. And theoretical liquid is if everyone did take out their tokens right now that they could take out, including things like the treasury, that almost half of the supply would be in circulation. So over half the supply isn't liquid. But things like in-game rewards even, which we don't even, isn't even going to start until the game launches. So that's 1 million of tokens that is not going to earn Revdis ever until the game launches. You've got 300K that's been taken out from SRV2 claims. So you've got almost 1.5 million tokens that are really never ever going to hit the Revdis pools, or not very quickly. And why I'm saying this is because that means that this 8.24 million tokens or whatever is actually a very good representation of the amount of Revdis we're going to receive when the game launches. It's not going to go much beyond this, I don't think. It might actually drop a little bit, so we'll earn a bit more per person, but it's not really going to go beyond it, not in the short term at least. So definitely worth noting that. So the next thing we're going to do is have a look at how much we could be earning. And I know you guys really want to see this stuff. If there's anything I didn't explain very properly, let me know and I'll go back and I'll do it in another video. But here I've got tokens and annual revenue. These ones are blue because these are the ones you can configure yourself. These are the two really, really important factors, okay? Revdis per token is obviously not including the amount of tokens you have. And annual revenue I put at 1 billion. Now, I know a lot of people think that's overly bullish and things like that, but I definitely see it being possible. Maybe it might take 6 months to kind of hit some of that annual revenue figures that I'm thinking of, but I still think we could exceed that considering Axie Infinity reached that sort of annual revenue figure. Obviously, it was monthly and they didn't get that all in a month. That annual revenue figure 3 or 4 months after they took off, right? So it's definitely doable, and Axie Infinity far exceeded as well, especially from secondary market listings. So We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe a bull run kicks off and stuff as well, but I definitely think 1 billion is reachable. And if you guys think more, you can get the calculator down in the description and you can put in your own numbers. So the other thing is the amount of tokens. Now I put in 100 for me personally because that's my goal. But you can put in the number of tokens and it will tell you theoretically based on these figures and based on the token price never changing and things like that, how much Revdis you will receive, okay? So if the token price does change, things like the APY are going to be a lot less useful. But in this current thing, if you did reinvest every month, your APY looks closer to 357% than it does the APR of 134%. But like really, if you had all your tokens right this minute, okay, and you had 135% APR, that is actually relatively accurate. If there was 1 billion in revenue over the next 12 months and you had a token or whatever, you would technically receive about 134% APR on it. Pretty much that's just that, right? You don't need to because if you need to rebuy the token, then the APR changes because maybe token goes to $200. Then you've got half the APR. But if you already bought the token at say $90, then that is the APR you've got based on 1 billion revenue. I hope that makes sense. That's really important. So definitely chuck a like on this video if you found this interesting, hype, useful, whatever. The other thing is with a monthly compound, you can get as high as like 32K for 100 tokens. But that's given that the token price doesn't change, which is obviously a ridiculous statement. So you might get more than the 12K, but you're definitely not going to go as high as 32, but you never know. Something weird might happen. We might go deeper into a bear market. Who knows? If you're going deeper into a bear market, that number actually gets higher. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see. But this is just kind of the sort of figures I'm messing around with. So if you found this useful, please leave a like down below. Also, we're looking at like $30, $80, $90 every day, which would be pretty insane for 100 tokens. That's for 100. So if you guys have a lot more tokens than me, put your tokens in, have fun with it. I hope you guys enjoy playing around. Have a good day, guys.